Derby Wars, racing's biggest contest site, is now even bigger with more than 200 games every day. Check out Survivor, Derby Wars' hottest new game. It's fun, easy to play, and for just $4 you could win $1,000. Just pick a horse to finish first, second, or third and advance to the next race. With daily payouts and games starting every hour, you'll see why fans are racing to play Survivor. Go to DerbyWars.com now, use promo code Survivor to get 5 free Survivor games with your first deposit.
Welcome to another edition of Horscenter, everyone. I am Brian Zipsey, and of course, as always, I have the great pleasure of being joined by my co-host to the East Coast. That's Matt Schiffman.
How are you, Brian? It's Belmont week, Brian. Pack your bag, pack your car, and get a move on.
Belmont week, Matt. I'm another year older, and I'm headed to the Belmont. I can't wait. I'll see you in a couple days. Matt, it looks like this field keeps growing and growing. Exaggerator is not scaring everybody off. Exaggerator ran a big Santa Anita Derby, a nice Kentucky Derby, a big Preakness in the slop, but everybody wants to try him in the Belmont. What do you think?
It's amazing. Yeah, this horse doesn't really seem to get the respect that he deserves. Like you said, Brian, 3 excellent races in a row, and the Belmont is shaping up now to be a field of 13 horses. Pretty amazing.
13, and we have more speed, Matt. Now, the latest addition, ladies and gentlemen, of course, is Gettysburg, and he is the speed of the speed now in this race. Formerly trained by Todd Pletcher, now trained by Steve Asmussen, Matt. Gettysburg goes right to the lead, and now horses like Destin and Stradivari for Pletcher, who we were talking about being on the lead, they now get to play the role of stalker. Advantage, disadvantage for them?
I don't know how much this changes the race, Brian, because it is 1.5 miles. If the race was shorter and I thought Gettysburg actually had a legitimate chance to finish in the money or to be a threat to possibly win, maybe it would have a greater influence on the outcome, but I just don't see that happening at all, Bri.
Well, you know what it is, Matt? I think more than anything, because I don't really like Gettysburg's chances in here, although horses that are well-bred, that have shown speed before, have stuck around a little bit. But I don't really like his chances in here off his recent form. He hasn't been as good as several horses in recent races. Gettysburg, though, does provide speed for another Windstar horse. Windstar, of course, has a share in Exaggerator. They do as well in Gettysburg. Gettysburg is being put in the Belmont, I will submit to you, Mr. Schiffman, as a pace setter. I'm not going to use the little R word in here, but he's a pace setter for Exaggerator.
Without question, Brian, I saw a quote from Elliott Walden, the Windstar president, and that's exactly what he said. He did not use the R word, but he said that Gettysburg is in the race to ensure an honest, legitimate pace. So he came right out and said it.
Now, they do it over in Europe all the time, the Investec Derby. There's always a pace setter in there, Matt. So now we have a pace setter for the Belmont. You know what? I'm not going to let it change my betting strategy. Sure, Exaggerator is the horse going in. He's the horse with the best resume. He is the horse coming off a very nice Preakness win. But going back to the Kentucky Derby, I like the race that a horse named Destin ran. It's his only race in the last, 3 months or so. He's fresh. And I like the race he ran in the Kentucky Derby. You know, he was squeezed at the start. He did not get up to the start he kind of wanted to. And then I thought he ran a very good race from there to be 6th in the Derby. Matt, I'm gonna go with Destin as my top pick in this Belmont Stakes.
Okay, Brian, I'm going to give you, since you're giving your top pick, I'm going to give my top pick. And I don't know, I think I might surprise you a little bit, Brian. Historically, horses that ran in the Derby, skipped the Preakness, and came back and ran in the Belmont have done very well. And historically, the favorite in the Belmont in recent years has not done well at all. I mean, no disrespect for Exaggerator and the connections of Exaggerator, but as we described his last 3 races and his terrific performance, it's also he's had a pretty significant campaign at this point, and I just think putting one more out there is worth taking a shot against. And again, I don't say that disrespecting Exaggerator by any means. I like a horse who also ran a big race in the Kentucky Derby. I know you liked it too, Brian. Sudden Breaking News. And maybe I like Sudden Breaking News a little bit more with the entry of Gettysburg in there. Like we said, Brian, he was 1 stride away from finishing 3rd place in the Derby. And I still believe that, especially with the jockey change, going to Mike Smith, who's won 2 Belmonts in the last 5-6 years, I still believe that Sudden Breaking News can be a little bit closer to the pace, which would be nice to see in the Belmont. So Sudden Breaking News is going to be my key horse in the Belmont. I think I'll get a decent price on that.
Yeah, I think we're talking about horses that are competing for second choice in the Belmont, and I think Sudden Breaking News is one of those horses. Mike Smith, as you mentioned, he just won Palace Malice a few years ago. He's won 2 Belmonts recently. I think he's a jockey that probably does get Sudden Breaking News to be up a little bit closer to the lead. Whether that's how the horse best wants to run or not, that could be a question. And whether he can rally after already having run 9 furlongs or more, that's another question. Certainly another one of the dangerous horses. I'm looking for a little bit more of a horse that I know will be close to the pace. And maybe this Gettysburg thing is a situation where Stradivari and Destin can sit off of Gettysburg and just let Gettysburg do his thing and burn himself out a little bit and then make their move. And that might be a more comfortable position, honestly, for both. I'm afraid of Stradivari. I'm afraid of your horse, Sudden Breaking News. I think Brody's Cause has a shot. I think Lonnie has a shot. And everything you said about Exaggerate, I think is true, Matt. He's the horse to beat. But at 4 to 5, coming off all these tough races at Belmont Park at 12 furlongs, no matter how hardy a horse he is, I think it's worth, from a gambling standpoint, from a betting standpoint, worth taking a shot against. I'm going to use a bunch of horses in here, including yours, including Lonnie and Brody's Cause, who I mentioned, Stradivari a little bit. But Destin's my top pick. So one of ours might be the second choice. Maybe it'll be Stradivari, but it should be interesting. One thing we know for sure, Exaggerator in this 13-horse field is going to be the heavy favorite. I'm going to use him at pick 3s, pick 4s, and some exotics in the race like trifectas. Good luck to you. Do you have any tickets punched out already?
I think I have a general idea that I'm, like you said, Brian, this is strictly about gambling and making some money. I'm going to key Sudden Breaking News probably in some exactas with some of those horses you mentioned, with Destin, with Stradivari, with Cherry Wine, and maybe a couple of others, because now with a field of 13 and Exaggerator even money or so, Exaggerator runs out of the exacta, we're going to get a nice payoff there.
And Matt, you talked about that in a recent article, how the exactas at Belmont have been good. I think maybe we also mentioned, the Stewart horses, I think, are up against it a little bit. We mentioned Gettysburg as a horse we neither of us like to stick around, really. But the Peter Pan, I think there's an interesting horse or two from there, especially the horse that ran second. Governor Malibu's a New York bred. He is stepping up in class, but he's run several good races against good horses. And I think he got a nice race over the track. Maybe he can sit in 4th or 5th. And he looks like a horse that might be able to run all day. So Governor Malibu, coming off that nice Peter Pan, Matt, is another horse that I might use, especially in the lower spots in those exotics.
Yep, definitely a horse that's getting better from the barn of Christophe Clement, and he's been doing great things on the dirt lately. Of course, we all know about Tonalist, and he's a horse that Clement thinks is just what you said, Brian, a horse that can run and run and run and run. And I like the home field advantage with Governor Malibu. So again, an interesting horse could sneak in.
Yeah, and you have to respect Christophe Belmont at a race like this. I think there's something to the foreign trainers being a little bit more prepared in how they prepare horses to go a distance, and that might speak for Lonnie, or it might speak for an American horse trained by the Frenchman Christophe Belmont in Governor Malibu. Matt, so many good races on this day. The Belmont is the headliner, but just barely. We're talking Met Mile. Have you seen the Met Mile field lately? So many good horses. I have my favorite in the bunch, quite literally, but you could make a case for 6, 7, 8 horses in this year's Met Mile.
Tremendous field in the Met Mile, and another one of those fields that keeps on growing and growing. We're probably looking at a field of at least 11 horses, many of whom have a good shot to win the race. I've got a horse that I like in there also, Brian, and I think you and I will be writing a little bit more about that tomorrow, so fans can get a closer look on that. But it's a great card for the fillies and mares also, Brian.
Yeah, let's not tease them too much, Matt. We're talking Stanford, we're talking Anchor Down, we're talking a lot of good horses. Upstart, the New York bred, is a horse I think that is dangerous in here. But top choices, and we're going to have a point-counterpoint article coming out tomorrow, as Matt mentioned. I like Frosted. You like Noble Bird.
That's it. No surprise that Zipsy likes Frosted. Maybe this is a little bit of a different kind of pick for me, but I like Noble Bird. I loved his last race. I think he's a horse that maybe is getting his act together mentally. He could run a big one in the Met.
Getting his act together mentally, Matt, that sounds a little bit like me. But I agree with you. Noble Bird, yeah, that performance at the Pimlico Special was big, although light in competition, Matt. I'll tell you why Frosted's going to beat Noble Bird. Frosted's a better horse. I think the mile will set up well for the class to sit in the middle of the pack, make his move on the turn. And Frosted, the absolute class in this year's field, as so often wins the Met Mile, will win this year's Met Mile. Matt, you have an opinion on the Acorn, I know as well, in what's shaping up as at least 3 biggies in Go Maggie Go, Catherine Sophia, and Karina Mia.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be the small field on the undercard without a question, but doesn't always have to be a big field, Brian, to be a good race. And those 3 are so super talented. And I like Catherine Sophia. I like the fact that I really believe that even after her marvelous performance in the Oaks, I really believe that she's a better horse and will be even stronger in this one-turn mile at Belmont Park.
Well, she's the favorite. I'll give you that. However, dropping down from 2 turns from 1.1 miles at Churchill Downs in the biggest win of what could be her entire career, dropping back down to a 1-turn mile against really good horses, Matt, that's no way to bet on a favorite. I saw a tired horse after the Oaks. She's had some time to recuperate, but I don't want her at 6-5 in here. I don't want her dropping down to 1 turn. I don't want her coming back in the Acorn, the big Acorn, as an afterthought, and that's the exact opposite of Karina Mia. Karina Mia is building to something big. She's coming out of the 7 furlong, 8 bells in dazzling style. Now she stays at 1 turn, 1 extra furlong. I really like Karina Mia. I like Catherine Sophia. I like Go Maggie Go very much as racehorses. But this race sets up for Karina Mia, my friend. Now, I'm not going to give you a chance to rebut that because I'm going to keep talking. This is some sort of filibuster I'm on, Matt. The Manhattan, we bring back the fantastic turf horse. He's run second more than he's run first, but Flintshire is world class, and this is the first time we'll see him this year.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a surprise to see his name come up as a probable entry just a few days ago, but the Manhattan, it's going to be the Chad Brown show. He's talking, possibly having 3, 4, 5 horses in there, but that's okay. With Flintshire in there and Wake Forest in there, we got some super, super turf runners in that field.
Chad Brown is tough. Flintshire, I want to try to beat him. First race off the layoff, 1.25 miles, probably a little shorter than his best. All those other Chad Browns are tough too. What about Divisadero for Buff Bradley, Matt? What about Ironicus for Chug McGahee? I think Chug and I think Buff are going to knock Chad off his turf pedestal in the Manhattan. I know I'm taking a shot because Chad Brown is super loaded and he's just been gobbling up turf wins like crazy, but Divisadero and Ironicus are really good horses, so I'm geeked for this race as well.
Yeah, another, like I said, Brian, another good-sized field where 5, 6, 7 of them have a real legitimate shot to win the race. Not just maybe they could win. These are just really great turf horses, and another reason for the fans to come out to Belmont Park on Saturday.
We'll be there. And we'll also be seeing a Grade 1 race for the older fillies and mares. Caramba, Carolina, Stop Charging Maria, Sheer Drama. The list goes on, Matt. I think I like Forever Unbridled to pull off a little bit of an upset. But boy, it's tough. It's tough to see her beating all of those good ones. But I think Forever Unbridled has gotten really, really good.
Yeah, again, another field that just has so many talented older fillies and mares in there. Another great race to look forward to.
I didn't even mention cavorting. Shame on me. Cavorting.
Yeah.
Wow. That race is loaded as well, Matt. So besides the Belmont folks, we got the Met Mile, we got the Manhattan, we got the females in the Acorn, we got the Ogden Phipps, and we got another half dozen, 6, 7, 8 more stakes races over Friday and Saturday. It's a weekend you don't want to miss. Matt and I call it the Breeders' Cup this half of the year. It's that good. Matt, before I let you go, though, I think we need to talk about a couple fillies and mares from this past weekend because we saw some good stuff. Stellar Wind, the champion 3-year-old filly, returned, Matt, her first race of the year since an excellent Breeders' Cup distaff, and she had no chance.
She didn't, Brian, but she ran a heck of a race off 6, 7 month layoff against the mighty, mighty Beholder. She ran a nice race in there. Gary Stevens had to ride Beholder a little bit more than in any of the races we've seen recently. Yes, she won the race convincingly, as always, but I'm looking forward to seeing Stellar Wind run some more races down the road.
I'm with you, Matt, on this point. Stellar Wind is the real deal, but Beholder gave her weight, and it still looked easy to me. I mean, it was kind of a strangely run race, so slow early and then kind of a sprint home, but I don't know. I don't see a lot of chinks in the armor of Beholder right now, certainly as it applies to females. I thought this was another impressive performance where Gary Stevens really didn't have to get down to the bottom of the tank. I look forward to Stellar Wind's future races, but Beholder, hey, Pacific Classic, California Chrome, hello. I mean, that's what racing's all about right there. It's a few months off, but I want to see that.
Oh, Brian, that is going to be the matchup of the year. I hope everybody stays healthy and we get to that point. Beholder had a pretty easy time in the Pacific Classic last year. This will be the race, the challenge of her career, going against the big California horse of the year, California Chrome.
California Chrome looks better than ever. At least he did when last seen in Dubai, so that's exciting. And Matt, while we talked about the 6-year-old mare Beholder, what about this 3-year-old turf filly? I called her a few weeks ago. I think I called her Tepin Jr. Catch a Glimpse has now won 7 in a row.
Again, the Cassie Barn has got these girls on the turf, and they like to take it to the boys. And let me say something, Brian. Shame on all the people who picked other horses against Catch a Glimpse in that race. Shame on them. I think that was a little bit of racetrack sexism rearing its head because they had no chance, Brian, no chance against Catch a Glimpse. She was absolutely terrific. And it wasn't a tough group of boys running against her. And that's kind of why I'm joking about, picking against her in there. She wasn't going to lose that race. Another just super, super talent. And congratulations to Team Cassie.
Team Cassie, 7 in a row for Catch a Glimpse. Matt, I agree with you. She wasn't the favorite. Not that she was much higher than the favorite, but she was dominant. I mean, she controlled the race early. I think the boys let her run her race, and that pretty much meant the race was over on the far turn. And it was impressive to see. And she's ahead of Tepin at this point in Tepin's career. Now, Tepin just became phenomenal at 4 and is continuing that at 5. I'm not going to say that Catch a Glimpse is going to be as good or better than Tepin. However, wow, Catch a Glimpse is a force. And, we could say she's the best 3-year-old turf horse in the country. Certainly her record would support that.
Absolutely, Brian. And, and Tepin was a little bit of a later bloomer, clearly, than Catch a Glimpse. But I love it when, as they do in Europe all the time, Brian, when the girls go on the turf and beat the boys. Like, it's a regular occurrence over there. And, hey, it's getting to be one over here now. It's great stuff.
Girls are smarter. The girls are faster, Matt. I've known that all my life. Horses not. Anyway, folks, that's a show. This was our Belmont Stakes preview show. We talked about a lot of other good things. I hope you enjoyed the show. Matt, thank you as always for joining me today.
My pleasure. And talk about girls being smarter. Thank you, Ember Marr, our producer.
That is true, Matt. Thank you to Ember Marr. Thank you to our great sponsor, Derby Wars, the best contest site out there. And most importantly, thank you to all our viewers who tune in every week. We look forward to talking Belmont Stakes results and much, much more with you next week. We'll see you then.